Will I ever be able to go back to work? Hey my YouTube baby, this your girl Breika, aka Dallas Bandit Girl from my OG YouTube babies. And your girl got that stupid disease called still disease that don't nobody know what it is, and it ruins my life. But I'm okay and want to do it. But yeah, for my new YouTube babies that follow me due to me having this lovely autoimmune disease called still disease, I am coming on here today to talk to you guys about still disease and going back to work, because I was hopeless in getting answers. Will I ever be able to go back to work? So I am in multiple stills groups on Facebook, and my biggest question and my biggest concern was, will you ever be able to go to work? And I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but it seemed like did nobody go back to work that was on their feet, you know, not a sit down job. And I am I'm a medical assistant, a PCT, a patient care tech, a nurse assistant, whatever you guys want to call it, at a hospital, and we're on our feet for 12 hours, picking up, lifting up patients, running back and forth, trying to help people. And everyone that I knew that didn't have a sit-down job or an office job said they couldn't go back to work. I asked nurses. There was one person that was a PCT and said she was able to go back to work. But a lot of them said they didn't. I saw police officers that said they weren't able to go back to work. They had to get a desk job, and I was just discouraged. I'm like, I'm not gonna never get to get back at work. And the job that I have, I've been trying to get there for years, and I finally got my dream job working with kids. And as soon as I got hired, I got sick, and I was trying to get at this hospital for years, and I finally was able to do it. And I was on a float pool, so I was floating everywhere. I can float everywhere and do everything, and I got more skills in doing what I love to do. And I love working with kids. And I got this still disease, and I'm like, why me? So when I asked people, I never got encouraging words when it came to this disease. Like, nobody was able to do nothing. So that is why I'm coming on here today, because your girl been back at work since last October, and it is May, and I've been killing it. So I just wanted to tell you guys my experience in going back to work with Still's disease. Now, let it be known right now, your girl is in remission. I'm not on any medication right now. I stopped taking medication at the end of January, when I finally got to go on my honeymoon. I stopped taking it while I was in the Bahamas because it was too painful and my numbers were normal. Y'all already know I stopped taking the medicine on my own because I didn't feel like I needed it, because I didn't have any type of flare-ups, any type of symptoms of stills for months, and my numbers were normal. So why I'm not in remission? Riddle me that. And like I said, my doctor's on maternity leave. I saw another doctor. So your girl is officially in remission. But before that, let me tell y'all when I went back to work. I was diagnosed with stills April of 2018. I went back to work in September of 2018. So I am very blessed, and I am very lucky that I have a job that I love, a job that works with me, and a job that is not so hard on my body. Now let it be known, the job that I do have, I'm not working with adults. I've worked with adults. If I worked with adults, back when I went back to work, if I worked with adults, I wouldn't have been able to go back to work. I'm not gonna lie. No. Could I work with adults now? Yes. Could I work with adults back in January? Yes. Could I work with adults back in September? No. I would not have been able to be a full-blown PCT working with adults back in September of last year. Wouldn't have been able to do it. I probably would have gotten long-term disability, or they would have had to put me in a desk job. There is no way that the amount of work and labor that we do working with adults, I wouldn't have been able to go back to that. I'm not gonna lie. Could I do it now? Of course. Let me tell y'all a story. Now, when I went back to work, I'm not gonna lie, I do a lot of sitting with kids. We have a lot of suicide kids, and with me being on the float pool, if you work in the hospital, me being on the float pool, of course they would want their techs on the floor working. But with my job, we float, so they usually put us in a room with one-on-one patient, and we're sitting all day. Now, with that being said, I know y'all probably saying, well, that ain't work. That ain't no labor. That ain't being a PCT, you sitting. But we can get a patient where we move him just as much. Not compared to adults, but yeah. So, and they did know I just went back to work. And my managers and my bosses knew, my manager and team leads knew what condition I had. So I didn't have a hard load of patients. But you know, that's because we were sitting. And they were trying to get me to sit. Now, when I went back to work, there was no way I could do 12 days in a row. I did not do 12 days in a row. 12 days, Lord help me. 12 hours. I work 12-hour shifts 3 days a week. Usually I work my 3 days in a row and be out multiple days. And I always work overtime. 12-hour days. Sometimes I would get, my normal checks would be like 96 hours, 100 hours. Instead of my 72 normal hours. I usually always picked up because I love doing what I do, and I love to buy stuff. I love to buy stuff, so, and I consider it, compared to working with adults, I consider it easy money, and I love what I do. I love the department I'm in. I love working where I work. It is amazing. I love it. So it don't even feel like work, because like I said, I love working where I work. So when I went back to work, I did not do 3 days in a row. I did 2 days in a row, took a break, work, or I would work off. I didn't really do that because it still was exhausting, but I would never do 3 in a row. I never had 1 day off. I would work 2, be off probably 2 days and work 1. I only did 2 days in a row, took a break and work. There is no way in hell when I got back to work I would be able to do 3 hours a day. My first day back at work, I literally sat with 1 patient, or I sat with 2 patients, laid back. They were self-sufficient. I didn't have to help them do anything. I'm literally just sitting there charting every 15 minutes because they know they're suicidal patients. So kids, they're suicidal kids, and you just have to watch them, make sure they're not trying to harm themselves. And usually kids, they don't try to do any harm themselves while they're in the hospital. They just have to be on this precaution because they have suicidal thoughts, or they try to commit suicide. So you're just watching them, make sure there's no harm. But you're literally just in there sitting on the computer, charting every 15 minutes what they're doing. When I tell you, when I did that first 12 hours and I was literally sitting all day, when I tell you I was so tired and so sore, you would have thought I had 24 patients, all adults, heavy adults. That's how exhausted I was. I'm like, oh my God, I am just sitting. What in the hell? I was still on steroids, and I was still taking methotrexate and all the other medication I had to take because of what the steroids were doing to my body. So I rested. When I got home, all I could do was lay down. I got up the next day, did it again. I was sitting for 12 hours. I would get back home, let me know. Remember, I was on the 3rd floor. It took me like 30 minutes to get upstairs. Me just sitting all day. And my husband, if he was at home, because we got off like at the same time. And sometimes I just stayed in my car, or I might have went to my sister's house, but my husband was still carrying me up the stairs. Because by the time I got home, I was so exhausted and tired. I wasn't having a flare up and I wasn't in pain like that, but I was in pain just from my body was not used to being up 12 hours a day. Then my off days, literally, I would rest. I would be in the bed all day. I could not do anything. You would have thought I worked out my body when I was just sitting for 12 hours. It was my off day. I was in bed all day. I could not do anything. Only energy I had was to go back to work. And I probably shouldn't have went back to work when I went back to work, but with me having the job that I had, I was like, there is no other PCT job that I'm able to not be on my feet as much and not being hurting so much. And I don't want to be at a front desk. I don't want to work in a doctor's office. I mean, I could have worked in a doctor's office. I have no problem working in a doctor's office, but I didn't want to be like a secretary or nothing. I want to interact with my patients. That's what I love to do. That's what make the day go by quick. You playing all day. So that happened. I was off and then I went back to work. I sat for 6 hours and my manager said they're gonna make you go to the floor. She tried to get me to sit, but I was on the floor where they take to sit. I don't know why, but I had to be on the floor. I took it like a champ. I was like, okay, cool. It's just 6 hours. I'm okay. But in my mind, I was terrified. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to be on the floor. I'm gonna be on my feet for 6 hours with my patients. So I'm like, oh my God. And during the end of the shift, that's when it can get busy because you're getting a lot of admits, you're getting a lot of discharges. And these nurses that I'm working on, I'm not on the home floor, so they don't know that I've been sick and been gone for 7 months. They don't know I'm recovering. The only people that know this were the people that remember me. Because like I started this job in October of 17. And I got sick in April, so I didn't get to know everybody. This is a huge hospital. But the people who knew me, they realized that my face was swollen because I was on steroids. And they were asking like, are you on steroids? I'm like, yes, I didn't gain this weight on my own. But if you knew me before and you looked at me then, you knew something was wrong with me. I was limping, but I was taking it like a champ. I should have been at home, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let this disease defeat me. I am going back to work. I'm going back to work. So I did my schedule. I worked 2, and when I got home from working those 6 hours on the floor, it was as if I sat for 12 hours. My body was still tired. I don't remember feeling more tired than normal, but so that was in September. I did my schedule like that. I didn't pick up no overtime, even though I wanted to, but my body couldn't. I couldn't. In my off days, I was in bed all day because I only had enough energy to do my 3 days at work. The rest of those 4 days, I was in bed all day. And at that time, I took my methotrexate treatment on Sundays. And I wouldn't work on Sundays because methotrexate, I don't know if I'm the only one, but methotrexate had me a little dingy and a little off when I took it. I was kind of off and confused. So I was always off the day after my treatment. I would go to work the day of my treatment on Saturdays, but I didn't work after that. I had to be off because the medicine made me weird and it gave me bad diarrhea. And like I said, I sat a lot, so it's just at this time of the year, we have a lot of suicidal patients. So I just looked up and was sitting a lot. Not saying that's all I do is sit, but during that time when I was going back to work, that's all we were doing was sitting. It got really bad because they closed down a lot of psych hospitals in Dallas for the kids. Oh, we would get these kids and had to sit with them. Now I would say I picked up my first overtime shift and I worked 16 hours that day when I was sitting with that patient that I told you that had cancer. Because they were offering us callback pay, and that's time and a half plus your pay on a normal shift. So I was kind of making double if I'm already in overtime, if you think about it that way. So I worked those 16 hours. And the first day I worked those 16 hours, I had a rash. It might be because I was sad over this baby that I was sitting with that was dying. And it was the first time in my body I worked those many hours. Now, now I start picking up overtime probably in January, December-ish, January. So when I start picking up overtime. Right now I pick up overtime all the time. When I start picking up night shift, when I start picking up overtime, that's when I knew I was kicking Steele's ass. Well, I was kicking his ass. And right now I'm in remission and I work normal. I work overtime. It took about 2 months for my body to get used to me working, and I don't sit all day like I used to. They rotate us, so I could be on the floor all day, I could sit, then be on the floor. It just depends on, I'm on the float pool, they float me everywhere. So with that being said, I want to tell you guys, if you can get up and walk and talk and do things while you're not having a flare up, do it, because it's gonna make you stronger and your body you're gonna be able to do more. I know it's hard to try to get up and do this, but don't sit at home, and just get up and do something. I'm not gonna lie, it got to, when I first was diagnosed with Steele, it was hard for me just to go to the grocery store. I had to sit in a cart because it would feel like I could be in the store 15-20 minutes and it felt like I was shopping for hours. There was a time I tried to cook, I passed out. But like I said, it was a lot of things going on with my blood, so my hemoglobin was low, so that's another reason why I was so tired. But there are times I couldn't cook, and I love to cook, and I couldn't. But right now, I'm kicking Steele's ass. Even though I was exhausted and tired, if I tried to cook or tried to go shopping and try to do anything that next day, it would kick my ass. I was in a lot of pain, and I'm not gonna lie, I was in a lot of pain and I was exhausted. But I think that made me stronger. So for you guys out there that's scared that you can't go back to work and you'll never be normal again, you might not never be normal again. I'm not gonna lie to you, but try your best to get up and do something, because it's just gonna make you stronger. Like I said, I'm very blessed to be in remission right now. Not everyone is as lucky as me, but I'm one of the lucky ones. Who's to say I won't have a Steele's flare up tomorrow? We never know with this disease, but until then, till I have another flare up or I could be in remission for the rest of my life, I'm gonna work my butt off and try to stay strong. So I hope this helps some people, and remember, write to me, subscribe to me, add me on Instagram, on the Snapchat, and all that good stuff. And subscribe. You know you want to subscribe to my motherfucking channel. You know you do. So okay, bye YouTube baby. Mwah.